So I'm here with Craig Wallenbrock, the LA Dodger minor league baseball hitting coach, and we were talking about hand action, and I got two things here, and you were talking about how we've talked about how the left arm works, and you were saying how you hold with these two fingers, and so the left arm, you show me what you did there again. So the left arm is doing here. So you don't want your left arm twisting.
No. If I wanted to snap a towel, I would snap that way.
Like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't fluff it.
Flip it over.
I wouldn't flip it over. I'd have to keep that wrist on that angle as I
go through. So if you saw somebody come into baseball and this arm was turning over like that, you'd probably
have a heart attack.
You'd have a okay. All right. So we got this arm working this way now. Right arm.
Right arm.
Okay. So you were talking a little bit 90-degree angle, and you were talking about where you hold it in your fingers.
Yeah, I want to control it. Like I said, sometimes I just take a pen and I say, grab that pen so you can pull through. Well, they inevitably grab the pen there. And so they're controlling here. And the movement that I see guys make, I call it, if you think about wringing out a towel, you have a wet towel.
Okay, I got it.
And I'm going to wring that towel out as I come in. I'm going to keep everything up so what my bat is approaching in a vertical angle. And now as I come through,
then it drops.
Then it drops.
So it's approaching from vertical and then it drops down.
And then it drops down.
So this first move here, your right wrist is doing more of this action.
Yes.
Which, in our game, when I start down, my right wrist feels like it's doing this.
Yes.
What I don't want, which I fight in because our industry right now, of course, if I stood up and I said, if I took a baseball bat and I went like this, and I took it and I went like that, you probably wouldn't like that.
Dumping the barrel.
Dumping the barrel. Well, in our industry, they call it shallowing the club, which is kind of popular right now. Which I'm looking at it going, it's a massive loss of force, and now the bat's compromised or the club's compromised relative to the momentum. So now you're fighting momentum. So it's the same thing. I mean, you want the bat to finally drop down onto at this point, but you don't ever want it under.
Right.
See that? Do that again. Start right there. This part right here's got me intrigued. Yeah. Boom. So it's wringing the towel.
Yeah. If I had a towel in my hand, I'd be wringing it out. As I come in, I'm wringing out the towel.
Is it okay if I use that? If I do a video on that and we make
another $400.
Another $400. I've never thought. Okay. Yeah. It's this.
Yeah.
So you're feeling this,
yeah.
And then, of course, so the bat is actually fairly vertical here, and then it drops down onto the plane of the ball.
And then it drops down the plane of the ball.
Okay, so anybody who drops the bat under the plane of the ball or drops it back here and then tries to make it go forward,
they end up looping, and that's greater distance to go to it. And we're trying to
minimize the distance.
Minimize the distance and keep it as more of a direct line as we can.
I haven't asked you this question, but I'm going to ask you. I hope I don't get in trouble here. I always, in baseball, in golf, one of the biggest misconceptions we have is a ball's sitting there, they go up to the top of the swing, and people make their hands go at the ball. Your hands have to swing inside the ball for the bat to get to the ball. So I've heard some hitting coaches, some guys talk about, well, you take the handle of the bat and you take it at the ball. And I'm going,
the knob of the bat at the ball.
The knob at the ball.
Yeah.
Now, is that a feel, or is that a reel or a feel?
Well, I think you do take the knob to the ball, but where do you take the knob to the ball?
Okay.
If I take the knob to the ball here, I now have to make that chopping motion, which is way too short, and I have to be perfect. Okay. If I take the knob to the ball from back here, I'm taking it knob to the ball from my 90-degree angle. So,
all right.
You got that?
No, that's a whole different deal. So you're doing it back here, taking it from here to the ball. So this isn't really right, going like this to the ball. Taking the knob out in front of you here to the ball.
No.
Okay. All right, well, that's good, because I couldn't figure out how I would take a baseball bat if I took it and I took this and the ball's coming at me how I could take this at the ball like that and have any chance of getting the bat on the ball.
Not a good move for me.
Not a good move. So it's more back in here, and it's
Yeah, it's there.
see that 90 degrees when you talked about, when you said it's ringing the towel, which is the same thing. It's the same thing I do, right? It's the same move right here, and then how your left arm works, and keeping a 90-degree angle in this arm, where this stays at a 90-degree angle, and you have to have space. You could have just given. I could just let you go to the back of the range and let you go, and you just teach my people.
Right.
Because that's what I'm doing every day with people.
Yeah.
A little different terminology, but
I'll add something to it too, and that is the shoulders. I like to work under my shoulders and not with my shoulders. And what I mean by that is, again, that knob to the ball, what's my shoulder doing? My shoulder's coming this way.
yeah.
I want to come under. See what my shoulder's doing?
No, I like that. Yeah, that's a whole different picture for me. What you just did there created a new picture with a handle, because that's a different knob to the ball than this one is, because it is a whole different deal with my right shoulder.
Shoulder, yeah. See, I'm working under my shoulder.
Yeah, that's good too, because we're working. This can't go this way.
No.
If this shoulder goes this way in golf too, I mean, there's guys.
You're going to take everything with it.
And there's guys who've talked about, they call it covering the ball in golf, because they don't want people to get stuck underneath, so they start talking about covering it. That's kind of a, let's create two wrongs and hopefully we get it right.
Yeah.
But it isn't really correct, it's just a feeling. Well, Craig, I can't tell you how much I appreciate your time. For me, this has been a kid's dream. I mean, you guys, you're so gracious, and I just can't tell you how much I appreciate the opportunity to spend some time and talk to you and learn a little bit about what you have spent a lifetime understanding. It's been great.
Well, it's been the same for me. I mean, I'm so interested in the parallels. In fact, cross training, whether it be from surfing, whether it be from the karate.
Oh.
I even read books on the samurai sword.
Yep.
And I mean, one of the lessons in the samurai is if we hold that angle, allows us to fight multiple warriors. In other words, if I release here to get one warrior, but I'm in battle and there's more than one warrior, I've lost control of my blade, and once I lose control of my blade, I'm vulnerable for other warriors. But if I control my blade and never lose control of my blade, I'm going through three warriors. I say the three warriors are fastball, slider, changeup. And we stay through them in that path, going all the way. And if I hold that angle and I'm charged from that side, because I still have that angle, I'm back and I still am controlling my blade and actually can go that way.
That's you come back to, and a lot of that too, especially when we're playing a game with two hands. If your left hand was wrong on a baseball bat, if it was turned over here,
Yeah.
this couldn't do what it was just supposed to do.
No.
So a lot of that's predisposed based on this hand doing this, so then this one can do what it's supposed to. Now in golf, if we can get that to happen, then what you said, lag, which I agree with, but now what happens is now the face is working this way, so you never lose control of the face.
Right.
And so regardless, now you have face control. If this is doing this and having to twist, you lose control of the face at high velocity. You're going to have a hard time making that be
You're going to have to
consistent.
be absolutely perfect. The margin for error is that.
Minimal.
Yeah.
And like I said, there have been guys who have pulled it off. I'm sure in baseball, there's guys who pull off stuff. You watch them and you go, wow. And they can even be good at it. But you go, I wouldn't try to teach it to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they can't fix. But we see guys in golf who do unique things, and they get pretty good at it. They duplicate under pressure, which if you can do that, that's pretty good. And you're always running. I think you probably, this is a question I'd ask you. You run the risk if you get a really good hitter. Let's say you got somebody coming up that's really pretty good, and he's got a fundamental flaw that you see, but he's really good. Do you fix the flaw, or do you have him understand the flaw, have him play around with it, see if he can do it? let him figure out if he can do it. I mean, where would you go with somebody who's good but they're flawed?
As long as they're getting the results, I leave them alone. But I know what the flaw is.
Oh yeah.
And there will be a point where they start having problems. And when they go to the problems, they're saying, I'm having trouble, I'm, topping too many balls, or I'm doing this or doing that. What do you have for me, coach? And at that time, because I know what the flaw is, I go right to how I would fix it and explain it to them and explain the concept behind what I'm trying to do.
Well, that's why you're a good coach.
Know.
Because coaches take somebody and get them to perform. If somebody's performing well, the old saying, don't fix something that's not broken.
Yeah.
But knowing what you know and seeing what I see and how you see a swing as the joints and how it works, when you see a flaw, it's pretty much not if, but when it's going to break.
Right.
And then the opportunity, they have to be ready to fix. But you can see they're going to have an issue with it.
Yeah. He's going to fight you until he asks for help.
Yeah, well, same thing. I mean, they got to be ready for it. You force it on them, especially somebody who is pretty good. A lot of them don't even want to see their swings.
Good athletes, when they're in their youth and their body's at the top, they can do a lot of things that you and I would think are wrong and still get away with it.
Yeah.
It's as they get older, I think you said earlier, sometimes that imperfect action is going to break the knee down or break the back down or something like that. And when it breaks down, you're going to be able to explain to them why it broke down, why they're having the pain there. And now they're much more aware and are going to listen to what you have to say.
I'm more. I mean, I've been coined sometimes by some of the things as the old person swing, because that doesn't hurt your body. And I'm thinking, let's run with that, because I don't want to hurt anybody's body.
Right.
And I get senior tour guys. A lot of guys come in that are older. They're hurting, and they're going, I want to keep playing. Or the general public that's playing golf that now is old enough and they've retired and they want to play golf, but their back hurts, their shoulders hurt. We got arthritis. The last thing you want to do is put unnecessary forces on joints that's going to make you hurt more.
Right.
And it really isn't necessary. That's what I find. And this has been eye-opening for me. And Craig, just thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
I enjoyed this too.
It's been really, really fun. Thanks.